Tom is 63 years old, 2 years from retirement. He's done everything right, saved consistently, maxed out his 401k most years, never missed a contribution. He's not careless, he's careful. He's always been careful. But late one Sunday night, Tom pulls up his brokerage account and stares at the screen. 11 different funds. He can't remember why he bought half of them. 3 of them feel like they're doing the exact same thing. And with retirement 2 years away, with everything he's worked for sitting right there on that screen, he's terrified he's going to make the wrong move. Maybe that sounds familiar. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which 4 ETFs give a retirement portfolio everything it needs: broad market coverage, reliable income, long-term growth, and real stability. And you'll have a simple framework for putting them together in a way that actually holds up. Here's what might surprise you. The number of funds in your portfolio has almost nothing to do with how protected you are. In fact, there's one specific mistake people make that completely wipes out the benefit of keeping things simple. Most people make it without realizing it. I'll show you exactly what it is, and it's not what you'd expect. Quick note before we start. I'm not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always work with a qualified professional. Now, let's slow down and start from where Tom started. Because his problem isn't unusual, it might be the most common mistake people make in the last 10 years before retirement. And the good news is, it's completely solvable. Tom built his portfolio the way most of us do. One fund here, one fund there, a tip from a coworker, an ETF he heard mentioned on a podcast, an index fund he opened in 2009 and never got around to reviewing. By the time he was 63, he had 11 different positions. Every few months, he'd sit down to review the account and leave more confused than when he started. Were his funds overlapping? Probably. Was he paying too much in fees? He obviously wasn't sure. Was his allocation still right for someone 2 years from retirement? He genuinely didn't know. And here's what actually kept him up at night. It wasn't just market risk, it was this. What if something happens to me and my wife has to manage this on her own? She's smart, she's capable, but she'd never once logged into that account. Tom had spent 20 years building something he couldn't explain to the person who might need it most. This is the fear nobody talks about. We spend years focused on building enough, but we almost never ask whether what we've built is manageable. For Tom, and for a lot of people watching this, the greatest threat to a retirement portfolio isn't a market crash, it's complexity. And the good news is, this one is completely within your control. Here's what Tom found when he finally sat down and mapped out his 11 funds carefully. 3 of them were doing nearly the same thing. He held VOO, a total market ETF, and a large cap growth fund, and they overlapped by more than 80%. He thought he had diversification. He had repetition. He was paying for the same 500 stocks 3 times over. Then he looked at the fees. 2 of his older funds, ones he hadn't touched since the early 2000s, had expense ratios of 0.7% and 0.9%. On a $380,000 portfolio, that was $2,660 a year, quietly walking out the door. Not in one dramatic event, just gone every single year, like a slow leak he'd never noticed. And then there was the behavioral trap. Tom had too many funds to rebalance meaningfully, so he didn't. He hadn't rebalanced in 3 years. After a strong tech run, his growth positions had quietly ballooned. He thought he had a balanced portfolio. He had an accidentally aggressive one, right at the moment he should have been pulling back. The myth is more funds means more diversification. The truth is, after 4 or 5 well-chosen ETFs, you stop adding protection and start adding noise. You add complexity without adding safety. And complexity in retirement is expensive, because confused investors make costly decisions. They freeze when the market drops. They sell at the worst possible moment. They hand the problem to a spouse who didn't ask for it. The smartest retirees don't have the most sophisticated portfolios. They have the clearest ones.
So what does a clear portfolio actually look like? That's where Tom's story turns, and it starts with a simple idea. Every retirement portfolio has 4 jobs to do. It needs broad market exposure, a stake in the full U.S. economy, not just the popular parts. It needs reliable income that grows over time, so you're not quietly losing ground to inflation every year. It needs long-term growth potential because even at 63, your money may need to work for another 25 years. And it needs the kind of quality holdings that hold steady when markets get rocky, so you don't panic and sell at exactly the wrong moment. 4 jobs, 4 ETFs. For the broad foundation, VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. 1 fund, over 3,500 companies, the entire U.S. market, small caps, mid caps, tech giants, healthcare companies, regional manufacturers, all of it. Expense ratio, 0.03%. That's 3 cents per $100 invested. This is your anchor. For reliable income, SCHD, the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF. This fund only holds companies that have paid rising dividends for at least 10 consecutive years. Firms with strong cash flow, solid balance sheets, and a demonstrated commitment to rewarding shareholders. Its dividends have grown at roughly 10 to 11% per year over the last decade. That's income that doesn't just arrive, it grows. It keeps pace with inflation and then some. For growth, IWF, the iShares Russell 1000 Growth ETF. The innovators, the companies building the future, in technology, in healthcare, in artificial intelligence. These companies pay almost nothing in dividends, but their value compounds at a pace that income-focused portfolios simply can't match over 20 to 30 years. And for resilience, VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. America's 500 largest, most tested companies. The firms that have survived recessions, market crashes, and every economic crisis in modern history. When the world gets unpredictable, these companies keep paying employees, keep innovating, and keep paying dividends. Together, these 4 funds cover essentially every meaningful segment of the U.S. stock market. They're low cost, they're widely available through any brokerage, and they're simple enough that you and the person who might need to manage this after you can understand exactly what you own and why.
Tom spent one Saturday morning with a legal pad, a calculator, and his brokerage statement. He consolidated 11 positions into 4. He eliminated the 3 overlapping funds and moved everything into VTI for his broad base. He opened a dedicated income position in SCHD, his dividend engine. He kept a meaningful allocation to IWF for long-term growth, and he let VOO anchor the entire thing with the steady weight of America's largest companies. Here's what his income picture looked like after the change. His $380,000 portfolio allocated 30% to SCHD, 30% to VTI, 25% to VOO, and 15% to IWF produced a weighted dividend yield of roughly 2.9%. That came to approximately $7,200 per year in dividend income, around $600 a month, arriving whether the market was up, down, or sideways. That wasn't enough to live on by itself, and Tom knew it, but it wasn't supposed to be. Social Security was coming in 2 years. He had a small pension. The $600 a month was the part his portfolio contributed reliably, a floor, not a ceiling. And here's where the story gets good. At SCHD's historical dividend growth rate, that $600 a month has a reasonable path to become $900, then $1,200 a month over the next decade, even if Tom never added another dollar to the portfolio. Not because of luck, not because of market timing, because Tom now holds a fund whose entire design is built around companies that keep raising what they pay shareholders. Then something happened that Tom hadn't fully expected. He sat down with his wife that same Saturday afternoon. He showed her the 4 funds,
He wrote down what each one did in 2 sentences on an index card. He taped that card inside the cover of his financial binder. She understood it in 15 minutes. That was the moment Tom stopped worrying. Tom retired 18 months later. He didn't retire with a perfect portfolio. He retired with a clear one. He knew what he owned. He knew why he owned it. He had a plan his wife could follow if something happened to him. And when the market pulled back 6 months into his retirement, as markets always do, he didn't panic. He checked that his dividends were still arriving. They were. He stayed the course. Here's what Tom figured out that took him far too long to learn. The goal of a retirement portfolio isn't to be the most sophisticated investor in the room. It's to have enough confidence in your plan that you don't destroy it when things get hard. This is exactly the kind of thing smart retirees check for. And if you're watching this, you're already ahead. You're asking the right questions. Most people your age aren't thinking this carefully about what they own and why. So here's your next step. Open your account today, not to make changes, just to look. How many funds do you have? Do you know what each one does? If the answer is no, that isn't a failure. That's simply where you start. Write down the 4 ETFs from this video: VTI, SCHD, IWF, VOO. Write down the job each one does: foundation, income, growth, resilience. Then look at what you currently own and ask one honest question. Does this portfolio have a clear job for every position in it? If it does, great, you're already there. If it doesn't, now you know what to fix. Income is not what you receive. Income is what you keep and can count on. 4 ETFs, 1 clear plan, no panic, no politics, just a plan. If you want to go deeper on SCHD specifically, how much you'd need to invest to retire on dividends in 10, 20, or 30 years, that video is right here. I'll see you there.